gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's late and we're having a great time already. So a lot of jokes flying around. Kids show though, gotta cut it once the ball starts rolling. So, yep, kid show. Speaking of kids show, let's get right to the meat of the matter. Favorite segment on the show. We'll watch everybody knows the rules. Throw a curveball this week. We're talking Becoming Led Zeppelin. But before we get there, Ed,
Yes, sir.
I'm tagging you in.
All right. Hey there, podcast fans. Are you ready to show off your love for the 1973 podcast? We've got over 20 different designs of t-shirts and hoodies that capture the essence of classic stuff. Whether you're a fan of the show or just love that retro feel, we've got something for everyone. From bold prints to subtle nods to your favorite personalities, each piece is made with top-notch quality. And that timeless style that you crave, perfect for lounging at home or making a statement out and about. And don't wait, our collection is flying off the shelves faster than you can say, don't be cheap, buy a shirt. Visit us now at bonfire.com and grab your favorites before they're gone. And then check us out at the 1973 Podcast T-shirt store on YouTube. Just click the link below.
So, the movie of the week was the first documentary, hopefully more to come.
Hopefully the last.
Oh, no, Bradford, come on. Becoming Led Zeppelin. Thought it was good. Not a lot of stuff that I didn't know. I thought it was produced really well. I thought the visuals were great. I thought they did a great job talking to the three surviving members. And I thought it was really cool how actually they had interviews with John Bonham that were on audio that the three surviving members hadn't heard before, and to get their reactions to hear John Bonham after all these years, it was great. I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't expecting a lot either. I thought it flowed really well. I thought the memorabilia that they showed was cool. The ticket stubs from all the tour dates as they went across America, that was cool. I thought that they had really cool footage that Jimmy Page had never seen before, and he had just seen still shots from a lot of the shows. So when they busted out the unseen footage, I thought that was cool too. So wasn't disappointed, but my rating, I'm going to give it, I wrote it down, 7-8. So definitely worth watching. I wasn't disappointed. Thomas, thoughts on Becoming Led Zeppelin?
I loved it. I've always been a huge Zeppelin fan. I loved some of the start. That to me, the soundtrack was like the big thing for me. They played some old songs that you don't really hear very often, like uh, "Your
That's not
Time
an
Is Gonna
song,
Come."
Tom.
Your Time Is Gonna Come. I mean, that's one of my favorite songs, and you never hear them. From what I heard, they don't really play it live. They never really played it live. But I thought, I'm like you. I thought the best part of it was when they talked to John Bonham, because I mean he's being passed away, and all the. I thought they could have gotten a little bit more into the some of the feuds that happened throughout the years. I mean, there were feuds in there somewhere along the way, but I gave it an 8.5. But before we go to anyone else, I want to know if the rumor is true that Brad spent the week. Now that Brad knows we can do movies like this, is there any truth to the rumor that Brad's been looking for a Creed documentary?
Ooh, now we're talking.
Well,
Bro, if only.
you
It's
got
not
before,
20 bucks, I'll rent it.
you know, the professor gave you an open window right there to add your thoughts on this documentary.
Me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh man. Andy Ermos, buddy. Not a huge fan of documentaries. Maybe if this was like Becoming Leonard Skinner and we got some Freebird, raise hell, praise Dell, you know what I mean? I'd be super into it. But I I don't care what the documentary is. It's hard for me to pay attention to a documentary. So I have to subtract points for that. Sorry. Not a huge Zeppelin fan. Got to subtract points for that. Sorry. The whole time I'm watching this, I'm just thinking to myself, man, didn't Jimmy Page buy Aleister Crowley's house?
You did.
Boliskin Manor, however you say it.
You did.
Didn't Aleister Crowley perform hermetic rituals and open a portal and a bunch of demons came through, and that's where the Loch Ness monster came from? That's what they said. That's what they say. So that's all I could think about. So 7 stars. 7 out of 10.
Brad, did you come into this with your eyes wide open? That's all I want to know.
With
Well,
arms wide open.
they capped it off right after the second album came out, so you
Yeah.
get the gist of it. With I didn't the my takeaway from this was Robert Plant being actually homeless when the band started. I thought that was a pretty interesting take on how he literally really had not too much when the band started. So,
They should just
Shaggy, did you end up watching it?
do a
Yeah,
whole.
no,
Hold on.
I love Zeppelin, but out here it was like $20 a rent where I am, and I didn't want to buy a movie for $20. Let's rent one.
That's all right. Do you have a score? Did you?
I'm going to abstain since I didn't see it, but as a Zeppelin fan, I'll give it an 8-8 just for the hell of it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That brings up Brad's score.
Yeah,
Can we just get a whole doc of Jimmy Page and all the spooky shit that went on in that Aleister Crowley's house? Then I'd be down.
like with his underage kids he brought in.
That's what they was doing. I wanted to see like a whole. Aleister Crowley did some weird shit. I want to see the documentary about
Over to Jimmy
that.
Page.
Yeah, Jimmy Page was an occultist, man.
Phantom, not only do you have an occulty name, but you have an occulty opinion.
All right, let me first start with I am a big Led Zeppelin fan. But
He brought it back.
this thing was a straight stinker.
Hey, yo.
I'm like, it was boring. It's like I guess if you're ever into like watching like old band footage, it was like the documentary to me was just like they just kick into these sessions of maybe you didn't see or whatever, but that was like get me through this thing. Plus those guys, like when they're talking, they got like zero personality. It was like straight English and just there was like no drama to it whatsoever.
Definitely wasn't Harry Potter.
Yeah, I didn't like how it ends at Led Zeppelin 2. So yeah, I'm coming in super low, boys. I'm like my favorite Led Zeppelin album is what, Andrew? Do you remember?
Is it Led Zeppelin 4?
It is Led Zeppelin 4, and I did doze off probably 4 times because it was so freaking boring. Coming in with a 4.6.
Oh, he went really low.
Brutal. I could barely make it through it.
So you tell me I saved $20.
The whole time I'm watching, I'm thinking, I'm like, this must be killing Brad. This shit's like 2 hours long of freaking watch old concerts.
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first.
Listen, here's what it is. This is the great thing about this segment is when we get into things like this. So, we have those movies that we've reviewed that were all home runs off the rip. So we're gonna get stuff like this. That's why I wanted to pick something different. Like Brad picked Long Legs a couple weeks ago. It gives it some continuity to everything just being so vanilla to start.
And like I said, I'm a big fan and I hated it. So it's not like the music part of it didn't have anything to do with it.
You know who doesn't make a bad documentary? Kiss. But we'll save that for another segment.
Nah, I only watch Kiss when they're on Scooby Doo.
Alanis Morissette shouldn't be blowing away Led Zeppelin in any kind of
Documentary.
movie or documentary.
Oh, I watched the wrong one. You watched Alanis Morissette blow who?
Ooh.
Dave
You was in the
Coulier.
wrong. You was in the wrong aisle, bro.
Speaking of people that have an opinion, Edwin, not only is this, you're going to close out this segment, you're going to give us your pick for next week. Go ahead. Take it in.
Well, first
Bring it on home, Ed.
I'm going to take us home. All right. Too long. It was over 2 hours. Too long. I did enjoy some of the stuff. But I will say that I agree with Ryan. They cut it at 2. Well, they had a lot more. They had a lot more to them with that. I did think they did bring up some great stories about John Bonham. I did like the fact that they had some stuff about the concert series that they had, and with how they kind of went across the United States and how they talked about that the show that they did in California, like, hey, if we don't knock it out of the park here, then basically you guys are done. I thought that was nice. I'm going to give it a straight up Raymond Volk score of 7.7.
All right.
All right.
Thomas, we are waiting on this tally.
All right.
Just with curiosity.
Please hold.
Yeah.
We are holding. So
Holding.
We are holding.
Yep.
Thank you.
Your time's going to come too, Tom.
We
Here's
appreciate
the one.
Did Darren dial in?
Nope. Darren was busy this week. He was at the National Kidney Foundation doing his speech, so he was a little busy. All right. Group score 7.4.
7.4, even with the low score from the Phantom and the Southern Gentleman.
Yep.
Respectable.
All right, so Becoming Led Zeppelin, 7.4 from the boys. Could be better, could be worse. That's IMDb has it as what, Brad?
I'm checking right now.
Okay.
I didn't think they would even have it, but I guess it is a movie, so it should. Becoming Led Zeppelin.
Could be on there.
Oh, 7.7. Pretty accurate.
Okay. There
Jesus,
you go.
I didn't even use Wikipedia this time.
You guys are complaining about this being long. Get ready for 2 days of 6 hours of wrestling each day.
Ooh, buddy.
Stop it.
I want to
That I
dial
can
into
do.
that one. I was already going to bring that one up.
Oh, yes.
Jag, you ready to text back and forth during that episode?
We're gonna write friggin' screenplays.
Ed, speaking of that, what's your pick for next week? One watch, everybody knows the rules.
Well, I'm going to stick with the documentary thing, but I'm going to switch it up on, and I'm going to go with some bigger, faster, stronger.
Okay. All right.
And I'll just preface this by saying it kind of ties in with our love of sports, and also has some wrestling in there as well.
Okay.
So, and it's just a good documentary. So check it out.
All right. So that's our homework for next week. Bigger, faster, stronger. So let's close up the one watch. Everybody knows the rules segment, and we are moving on to the wrestling, as Ed said. So what we've been doing, Dark Side of the Ring season, episode 3 on Big Van Vader. Did everybody watch it?
I did.
Shaggy did not watch it.
3
That's
times.
okay, Shaggy.
I don't have it till months later. I get it late. I gotta watch it 8 months
All right.
later.
Hold on. You're a big Vader fan, yes or no?
I'm a big Vader fan, but yeah, back in the day.
Phantom, thoughts on the episode?
I'm gonna keep with my theme. Another stinker. Watched a lot of crapola this weekend. Not my favorite episode by any means. Once again, a little bit on the boring side. Kind of didn't really. Only thing I got out of it is that Vader probably smacked around the wife too much, which is seems to be a thing with a lot of these wrestlers. I don't know if it's the physicality of the job and they bring it home with them, or the drugs or any of that kind of thing. But I didn't really come away from it like feeling bad for him or anything like that. I thought it was kind of cool that they brought his son in to talk for him, seeing that he was not around. But overall, I wasn't a big fan of it, and wasn't really a big Vader fan either.
Bradford, thoughts on the Vader?
I mean, I'm mixed. I thought they could have done a better job. This guy had such a prolific big man story arc in WWE. He lived kayfabe. I mean, he was protected the Vader persona through and through. But it's like all big men. Like you get kind of to a point. And it's like where can you put them in a story? Where can you push them? Where can you put them? Like they're kind of limited and they're although he was super athletic, like for being a big guy. There's only so many places you can put him. Like how big is he? Like is he just gonna beat everybody? Like I think that we see that with, even now like Big Braun
Strowman.
yeah, Braun Strowman or what's the other guy's name? The Aussie, I forget his name. Anyway, all these big dudes, and like you kind of you run out of room. And this documentary I don't know, man. It kind of fell flat. I liked it, but I didn't. I wasn't super impressed. I mean, they talked about typical story arc. Traumatic childhood. He's always substance abuse problems. He's always trying to really kind of hurt people in the ring too. Whether he was like accidental or actually going after them. I don't know. Typical, like, Vince McMahon type shit with him, you know. Yeah, I don't know. It was okay. It was okay. I thought it could have been better.
Ed, thoughts on the Vader?
Well, since I tried to watch it 3 times and I fell asleep all 3 times I was watching. Okay, so obviously it wasn't that great. Okay,
Yeah.
so like I tried once. I was off on business trying to watch in the hotel room. Didn't have, I fell asleep during that. I assure you, it would. Training was great, but it wasn't that mine. It wasn't that physical. It really just I thought it was kind of boring actually. And I kind of feel like that these Dark Side of the Rings are just kind of following the same script over and over and over again. They're not really doing a deep dive into these guys. Anybody that was a wrestling fan back in those days kind of knew that Vader wrestled stiff anyway, and he always looked like he was always trying to jack somebody up. I do have to say that for being a big man like he was pretty damn athletic. So I'd have to say not a huge fan of the episode, but none of them have really been all that great anyway. So just saying.
Bronson Reed, that's what I was trying to think of.
Oh, Bronson Reed. Before we get to the professor, I wanted to mention that the person I thought that was great on the episode, besides Jim Cornette adding his 2 cents in there here and there, was Stan Hansen. Just like Stan Hansen's one of those guys that no matter how tough you think you are, send Stan Hansen in and we'll see how tough you are. Because look what he did to Leon, who he trained to get him in the business. Yeah, you getting stiff with me? Okay. Do I have to fish hook your eye out? Do I have to let your eyeball hang out of your head just to let everybody know that you're not the toughest guy in the ring? And then when they interview him, he's like, seems like the somebody's old grandfather until you get him in the ring, and then he gives you that blind lariat. So, Professor, will you care to add to this episode on Vader?
See, unlike you cranky old men who are grumpy tonight, don't like this, don't like that. I thought it was okay. It wasn't the best episode this week, but it was pretty good. I mean, they didn't really give you any new information. I thought the good part that was when they had Joe Thurman on there, the man who Vader paralyzed, and had him briefly talk about that. And I mean, just to get him on there, that was kind of a good get for them. I thought Cornette was awesome again. Cornette should have his own show, actually. To be honest with you, doing like a history of just pick an incident or something or era, and just have him talk about it. I think it would do great. I just wasn't a big Vader fan. I always thought he was kind of an asshole from everything I had heard backstage, kind of a big bully. And so he seemed a little bipolar if you listen to everyone talk about how he'd start crying. A couple times he was crying in the ring. And when he found out Vince didn't know who he was, really never watched him before he got to WWE. So, I mean, it seemed like he had some emotional problems, a little bipolar thing going on.
Yeah, what more is there to say? I mean, the episodes where the person has passed away. I've said this before, and I'll stick to it. My theme is you miss the boat on doing really good episodes when the person is alive. That way, there can be a yin to the story's yang. It's not just people that are bashing the person without some kind of rebuttal. So that's where they kind of lose the boat with me. Tony Atlas next week. So should be interesting because Tony's still alive and he seems like a really straight shooter. Like, if he wants to tell a story about something that he witnessed, like the Bruiser Brody thing, it's great. So hopefully they next week's episode, it's definitely one of the ones that I'm interested in watching. So Tony Atlas next week for Dark Side of the Ring watch along.
I was going to say, Andy, with the Dark Side stuff, it's kind of the opposite of what we were saying, like with the Hall of Fame, with the guys being passed away. I think the fact that they are passed away is why they're actually even dark sides about them, because it's that probably most of the times it led to the death.
Yeah, I think that not. I don't want to ruin the episode before it even happens, but I'll hop on the Billy Graham one. They're going to talk about all the stuff and how he had a falling out with McMahon and when he was on the talk shows talking about the steroid thing and all that. But it would be great to have done that 2 years ago when he was still alive, just to get his take on everything and, just to hear him talk about his side. Like now that Kevin Sullivan's passed away, you can't really talk about any of that stuff anymore because he's gone too. And when they've tried to get him for interviews, he's kind of like, I'm all set. So uh, Dark very, you never know what you're going to get until you watch it. So I guess that's part of the allure of watching it. Are they the best documentary filmmakers when it comes to wrestling? Not really, but I guess it's a thing. I mean, it's the most popular show on Vice, so I guess it gives people that aren't even wrestling fans something to watch too, because I think a lot of people that don't even watch wrestling watch it. So there must be some appeal there for these characters or whatever. So, Brad, you want to add anything about this week in wrestling before we move on?
No, I don't know. Is there any big storylines? I mean,
Not
I
really.
I watched a little bit of Raw, a little bit of SmackDown. Right now, Tony Storm is just cutting the wildest damn promos in all of wrestling. I mean, it's just insane the stuff she's getting away with.
She might be
The
the
stuff,
best promo in the biz right now.
bro, the stuff she's saying, like literally the other day, she was like, put our pictures up in the corner. Just picture after picture of the female wrestlers in AEW. She just roasted every single one of them.
Yeah, and when she said on live TV, "Hey kids, make sure you try this at home instead of doing
Yeah,
it at your
dude.
house." So
Yep. Like she is. I feel like AEW is at a point where they're like, dog, we losing this fight. Tony Storm, say what you want to say, and like we'll pay the fines. Oh, and you are you gonna talk about what's his name throwing up in the
Hook.
ring?
I was going to talk about Hook.
Yeah, Hook. Man,
So
I
I
didn't
say,
see I didn't see everything that happened. I saw the replays and the clips of him puking, and they kind of pulled him over and finished the spot. But whew,
so the clip that it came across my feed, I thought of you guys first because it involves CTE, and I I had said it where back when the podcast started, and the clip was somebody's eventually gonna, you know,
yeah,
it really seriously hurt in AEW because of what they allow to happen and going too over the top. I guess he either had a concussion going into the match or got a concussion during the match. And they, of course, everybody knows that's been around, concussions. If you get your bell rung back in the day, one of the things they say you could puke a lot. So he started throwing up and he was kind of, I guess it was like one of those water type, it wasn't chunky, it was just wet. And he kind of like put his arm like this and was hurling on the mat, but you couldn't really see it. And these are things that we always talk about, the love of old school wrestling and what you never used to see and how it's gone too far. And the no sell on the pile driver the other day, that stuff, it's just, how do you tell a story when nothing means anything? It's just, it bothers me for the love of the whole thing, and then talking points and growing up watching it and still watching it, not as hardcore as once were, but the podcast does bring a love of it back to talking about it on each episode. So thoughts on that situation? Anybody like to add?
well, I mean, don't you guys think it's weird though? We're 7 days away from WrestleMania and we have nothing to talk about. Like, what is going on, man? Like
Horrible build-up.
this has been the flattest, lamest build up. They had The Rock and Cena come back, and like for what? Nothing has happened. Like seriously, nothing has happened.
I thought the Cody promo with the belts was pretty cool,
Yeah, that was
but
all right.
but, but it was straight filler because
Yeah,
Cena is never there, so they must
yeah,
just go out there and do your best.
yeah. Go out there and talk for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
It's,
and add two nights to WrestleMania too, with no build up to it.
18
Yeah,
hours, Andy. 18 hours, 9 hours and 9 hours. 9 hours Saturday, 9 hours Sunday. 3 hour pre show, 4 hour regular show, 2 hour post. Both
Now,
both
I'm not
both
watching all that.
the only thing that might be interesting is they're doing the Kill Tony at WrestleMania. Did you
Yeah,
see that?
yeah. I mean, they added a bunch of. They're trying to be hip. They're trying to reach out to people. They want to do a roast, and I don't know if I'm a fan of that, man. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, they're
I
really
like them.
some of the stuff they're reaching for, Bradford.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like
for
anything
sure.
else, you like if you like something, once it gets too mainstream, it takes away from it.
It does.
I like it better when it's just for the people that already grew up watching it. It starts getting too big. I think it's almost like those heavy metal bands when we were kids, like Metallica, when like nobody was listening to them. We were like, "Oh,
Yep.
these fucking guys are great." Then it kind of got mainstream, and it's not that they totally sucked, but it was like now everybody liked them, and it takes away from that was like my thing that I knew about, and now everybody wants to talk about it. I think there's a bit of that.
You know,
Very
you guys said a while back there's going to be one person turning heel to join Cena and The Rock, and The Rock's made a lot of 3 references and stuff like that. What if it's Jay Uso, man? Like, there's a lot of conspiracy theories right now that it's gonna be Jay Uso. Like you
uh,
said, there's gonna be another person. Jay came out with that rapper, the same guy that punched Cody. He originally came out with him.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff like kind of pointing, and because he won the Rumble. He's not the main event, even though they printed up main event Jey Uso shirts. Like Jey Uso might be that heel turn, man. Like that would finally put some life into this storyline, dude. Because I'm not buying the Jey Uso Gunther either, man. Like, and I love Jey Uso. I have Yeet glasses. I wore them to the baseball field today.
Ed,
I mean, to kind of piggyback on Ryan's point, I mean, how do you sell $1,500 seats to regular people?
right, right.
I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, maybe the reason why Rock and Cena they came back for when they came back was to help drive ticket sales up, and then, I mean,
100%.
you know
Well,
what I'm saying? Like, I mean, because to go, I mean, I remember going back. I mean, I mean, Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we go to a house show at the New Bedford Rec Center? And I think we paid $10 to get in to
oh
see
yeah,
like the New England Wrestling Association or something like that.
oh yeah,
Those days are long gone.
yeah.
And I
Yeah,
mean,
even like for independent shows, it's $25 and up, and even they do like gold circle seats and front row and all that stuff. All the stuff that prevents sports in general, and wrestling falls into that too. They've killed the family going to events. When you're seeing minor league games and you're paying big money, it shouldn't cost somebody $100 for
Bro,
indoor to go to anything. As
tell
far
me about it. Go to the minor league Shucker baseball games. We used to get like $8 tickets. Now they're 12 and $15. Then you drop $100 on food and merch, and there's only 50 people at the damn game. Like, why is it so expensive?
Or like, what's better, having a full house on the cheap or having an empty
Yeah,
building expensive?
yeah.
Don't get it.
Stupid. Also, I'm going to WrestleMania next year. I don't care if it is $1,500 a ticket.
Well,
Hopefully, it has a better build up.
This
every
happened.
year, this is my not conspiracy theory, but every year they have a football player. The last few years they've had a football player there, and the man that's been talking the last few days about possibly being there is Tom Brady. So we'll see. I guess
Weird.
Cody Rhodes has invited him. Brady's actually come out and said with it being in Vegas that he may be there. So
I hope
Weird.
Breaker spears his ass.
Yeah, spear him. What's the over under for Stone Cold showing up? He lives in Vegas.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think
He,
Stone Cold wants anything to do with this shit. Dude.
I don't think so. I think he's happy with he gets more hits over that cap that he's got Poncho than anything
Yeah.
WWE does.
Yeah,
With him.
he don't want none of this. He just wants to stay home with Poncho.
Oh,
100%.
Andy, don't forget about your Hall of Fame legacy guys.
Oh, that's what we're going to talk about. So here's before you came on, we were talking about it, and I mentioned I actually wrote it down too, but sometimes we get sidetracked with CTE. Here's
Sorry.
your friend. So if we could be serious for a moment, we're talking Hall of Fame, and
Oh yeah.
we're talking wrestling Hall of Fame. So come on, how serious can we be?
Super
Hey, the baseball Hall
super
of Fame's
serious.
freaking bullshit too.
So let me. Tom was waiting to jump in for quite a bit. Tom, thoughts on the 3 people that they added to that legacy wing of the Hall of Fame?
Well, it's a day late, a dollar short. Because if they're going to put these guys in, if they're putting them in as a legacy, which I guess, if are they going for the people that have passed and aren't there? Are you? I mean, if you're going to put them in now, you should have put them in when they were alive. And I mean, I know they had beef with Kamala because he was part of the. I think he was part of the lawsuit against the WWE a while back. I guess they had come to good terms over the years after Kamala had his legs amputated. I guess they kind of helped him out a little bit with some bills. But if you're going to do it, if they're good enough to be in now, you should put them in when they're alive, where they can actually soak in some of the adulation.
So my measuring stick before was the Johnny Rod's Coco Beware. That was the measuring stick. It is now the measuring stick. Michelle McCool, Bradford. Have they lowered the bar? Is she the gate now for lowering the expectations for the Hall of Fame?
100%.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
100%.
I knew I brought you on here for a reason. Phantom, I want your thoughts on this because you are very, I'm going to use the term, I know, anal about the Hall of Fame.
I am the grumpy old man yelling at the clouds, get off my grass. So is this like what Tom just said? Is this legacy thing like guys that have passed or really people that are post like 80s? So a lot of like, is it going to be like just for like the older guys, 50s and 60 guys that maybe not a lot of people know, but were actually like big time stars like a Dory Funk Jr.? A lot of people don't know how big of a star Dory Funk Jr. was.
Well, it's not Dory Funk Jr., it's the father, Dory Funk Sr.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Senior.
It's the old man.
Well, for what? Having freaking big nuts and put out some two good kids? He's a Jimmy Jack, if you ask me.
Got some big nuts. It's a kid show.
Probably. I know Andy loves himself some Ivan Koloff. I don't think anybody ever paid big dollars just to go see Ivan Koloff. Maybe when he beat Bruno on a surprise thing, but I don't know. That to me, that's Nikita's manager. And I'm 50 years old, so how old do you have to be to freaking watch Ivan Koloff freaking wrestle well?
Ed or Shaggy, you want to add to the Hall of Famers in the legacy
Bing, bing, bing. 3 downs.
What's that say? Like Dory Funk Senior. Like who watched Dory Funk Senior? I think my grandfather watched him. I don't even know.
I can't believe it's not Dory Funk Jr.
He's already in. He's in. He's
already in.
Also, they went in together. Terry Funk and Dory Funk went in.
They earned it. They earned it.
It's a tag team.
Yeah.
They're not happy.
Ed, I know you love some Kamala.
I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame, to be honest with you. Dory Funk Sr., I mean, I never saw him. How can I make a comment about him? Ivan Koloff, I don't know, man. He came across, he kind of put himself over. He just had something about him, you know. I love when he would tag with Nikita and stuff like that. That was good stuff back in the day. I don't know, just made you really not like him, but dude, he always came in and just put the boots to somebody, you know. Loved it.
Very hateable for a nice guy in real life.
All I know is I had a Nikolai Volkov LJN, but I didn't have Ivan Koloff.
So what you're saying is, if they made Ivan Koloff in a figure, it'd be a peg warmer.
Ooh, it'd be one of those fake male He-Man guys.
Remco special. So let's move on from talking wrestling before we get off the rails with the subject matter, and we'll move on.
Ed just went to go throw up.
You scared Ed away.
No, he's going to pull a hook right now. He's so disgusted with that group.
You know, shorts get shorter.
Ooh, those were some sexy limbs hanging down from there.
I was going to say, thank God he's wearing underwear.
Only guy in the crew that's still doing squats. I like it.
Those are the two-stroke draws.
Easy access.
Thomas, it's your segment. Let's go. Let's do some shitty picks.
All right. Tom's Shitty Picks is brought to you by Brock Street Brewing Company, located at 244 Brock Street South in Whitby, Ontario. Everything's brewed in-house, including their hard iced teas, their beers, vodka sodas, and their hard seltzers. So if you're in the Whippy area, go check them out and tell them the 1973 podcast sent you. Speaking of Brock Street, Scotty, Darren, pay attention because I'm talking basketball for like 45 seconds. I'm going to make my today was the last day of the regular season. I'm going to make my finals pick. I'm not going to tell you who's going to win, but I'm going chalk. Oklahoma City against the Celtics. Oklahoma City is unbelievable this year. They've only lost once against the Eastern Conference. I'm actually going to pick the Celtics to win. I think they're just a complete team. I think going through the motions. The only thing that scares me is Jaylen Brown, his knee. He's been getting injections in his knee, so hopefully he'll be all right. I think the only team that can screw things up, possibly, I don't see anyone in the East. I think Cleveland peaked at the wrong time. They peaked at like probably the All-Star game. I think in the Western Conference, I'd be scared of old friend Ime Udoka and the Houston Rockets. They're a young team, they're tough, play awesome defense. That's the only team that I can see giving Oklahoma City a challenge.
Thomas, you want to talk some theories on the the quarterback there that you guys were talking about?
Oh yes, some NIL stuff. I actually have to say I like what Tennessee the head football coach Josh Heupel did because he wasn't putting up with this kid's crap. The kid Nico Iameva, I think his name is.
Close enough.
Yeah, he signed an NIL with them. He was going to get $2.3 million a year. I don't know if he found out what other people were making. He decided he was going to hold out. Friday was first practice. He didn't show up at practice. Told them he wanted $4 million, and the coach told him to go pound sand and announced Friday afternoon that they were going their separate ways and got rid of him. And now he's in the transfer process, and he kind of screwed himself because it's so late in the transfer process. There are rules. He can't go anywhere in the SEC. He has to go outside of conference. And Oregon's already told the kid they're not interested. That's the place he wanted to go. So it's so late in the process that he may not get a good he may not start where he goes. He may have to go to a smaller school.
Bro, he asked for $4 million and a Bugatti. But it's like a $3 million car.
And he's not even that good.
Like, come on, bro. A Bugatti? Should have asked for like
a Camry,
a Camaro, or a Challenger, or a Mustang. A Bugatti? Come on.
I can't even get a 6% raise in a new RAV4.
Yeah, dude. Excuse me. There's my one effort for the show.
I like what Heupel said, where he said this program was built on players like Peyton Manning, and he named a few other players like Carl. I believe it was Carl Pickens, and he named a couple of running backs. He said that's who the program's built on. The program's going to be there after he's there, after Iamaleva's gone. So I like what he said. I was always a Heupel fan because he played at Oklahoma, and that was my favorite school. But I've liked him since he seems like he's level-headed.
Shay, you want to add to this debacle?
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I never even heard of this quarterback until this incident. Like, I mean, one thing was some quarterback I heard of, like, oh yeah, that guy. I'm like, all right, like, never heard of this kid. Like, what? Who's blowing smoke up his ass that he thinks is this good?
His agent.
Ed, care to add?
I sure do. I just think that Saban hit the nail square on the head when he got out of college football with this NIL stuff starting. I think this is already out of hand, and it needs to stop immediately. Look, there's nothing wrong with sharing revenue with these players and so they can make some money and that type of thing. I have no problem or issue with that whatsoever. My issue is just that these kids are going to, I mean, now they're going to be state employees now? So they're going to be the highest paid state employees next to the coach at these universities if they're a state university? I mean, that's a little ridiculous, don't you think? So I mean, the thing about it is that, look, there's nothing wrong with paying these guys because the amount of money that the NCAA and these colleges make off of, with not so much from the actual gate revenue or from the actual football team, they actually get it from actual television revenue through the NCAA and that type of thing. No problem with these guys getting some money and stuff like that, put it in a bank account or whatever. No problem with that. But you're going to ask for $4 million in a $3 million car? Go pound sand, bud. And you're not that good. So, and the thing about it is like they should limit, one transfer per school. Like these guys, they shouldn't be like bouncing around like a free agent every year. You got one time. I mean, you're supposed to be going to school. You're supposed to be going to college to get an education. Not become the best football player. If you do happen to become the best football player, that's what the NFL is for.
I have a question about this because I am a layman when it comes to these college athletes getting paid. Is that for even like smaller sports? Are they still getting kickbacks to the kids?
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you go to like say Auburn to golf or something like that, you get a kickback too?
Way less.
A lot less.
Way less.
But they use football as the driver.
Right.
Football and basketball as the two revenue driving sports. They get it. It all kind of goes into one big pot, but it kind of goes into, if you like to use your example, if you're a member of the Auburn golf team, you're not making as much money because it's a small pool,
Not much television.
You have a part-time job while you're in school or something like that, right?
Well, here's the thing too. It's like, is the blame on the player or is the blame on the NCAA? Because now you got, I'm pretty sure he's looking at Carson Beck going into the portal and getting $8 million from freaking Miami. He's better than Carson Beck, in my opinion. But to like what cost? So he was getting like 2.4 as a freshman and a sophomore. He wasn't even playing. So they already gave him that money going forward, the 2.4 for his 4 years. So last year was the first year he started. He blows up. He had a good season, but every time they played somebody good, they didn't do shit. But I don't understand the whole NIL thing as far as like how these players like split this money. So it's like, to me, it's like these big time quarterbacks or your skill positions are getting all the money, but the guys on the line, like, what are they getting? Are they getting anything? I think they should just take the money and just split it evenly between all the players, so everybody's got a little bit of money. So if you're at a school if you're at Notre Dame or you're at Michigan or whatever, Auburn, Alabama, everybody on the team should be getting the same amount of money. It shouldn't be like the quarterback's like, oh, I want $8 million. Like, I don't understand that. I do respect the fact that the coach was like, we're not doing that. But there's a part of me that's like, well, if you're the player and you put up that big year and there's all this money getting thrown around, like, why not? Somebody's going to give it to them. So, like, you like to think you got some loyalty to your school or whatever, but they could cut your ass too if they could give you that money, and if they decide that you throw up a stinker, they could be like, hey, dude, you better hit the transfer portal because you're not good enough where somebody else is starting over you. We're not giving you that money anymore. So there is a bit of it. I understand that it comes across as greedy and selfish, but if you're looking out for yourself and you might not be a guy that goes to the NFL and makes big money, you're gonna make your big money while you're in college. So I'm kind of torn a little bit on, like, my initial thoughts on it was like, this kid's like super greedy, like, just be happy that you're getting big bucks. But as I thought about it, there's a slice of me that's like anything else, pay me while you're hot. You know what I mean?
Shaggy, you wanted to add?
Well, I think it's all, like you were saying, it's all individual. So like, yeah, you're worried about the linemen. The linemen can get their own deals, but probably with like a local like car dealership and do some commercials or whatever. Like they're not gonna get $8 million. Like I know local small colleges around here, like some kids got one, and it's like, oh, I get free pizzas from this joint for doing like a commercial and stuff like that. But then it's not gonna be, you're not the big star, you're not the wide receiver, you're not the quarterback. Like it is what it is. You're not gonna get the NFL.
He puts up that big year as like the star quarterback, but what's his line getting? Like, dude, you're getting like 2.4. Why don't you like share that with your line?
Well, that's the
you want to be shit without him.
That's up to the individual guy. You have heard stories like some big time quarterbacks, throwing a little cash to the friggin' linemen and stuff like that. But depends on how greedy the person is.
Like most things, I like it old school. Just why didn't they just keep it the way that it used to be with the boosters, paying the guy? And then just turn a blind eye to it rather than the NCAA like coming down on everybody anytime anybody's getting paid. Let them pay somebody's parents like a couple extra bucks to help them decide what school they want to go to or whatever. But giving somebody $8 million to be a college player is so stupid.
They got to make rules. They got to make some rules. Like you said, the transfer. You can't be bouncing around left and right. You should get one transfer, or at least you have to stay there for 2 years and something.
Make
I
them
think
sit
Tom
out a
had
year
said,
after if they transfer more than once. Make them sit out.
Yeah,
well, that's what I was
exactly.
going to say. Yeah, Tom had said on another podcast where we talked about this about like if you jump into that portal, you should have to sit a year.
Right.
So speaking of paying the bills, Thomas, do you want to move on to some tinfoil hat, seeing that you're primed and willing to
One
go?
more thing I wanted to mention, it just popped in my head, is I want to see what these guys have to think about. Bill Belichick is coming out with a book, and it's not about what he says in the book, it's who he doesn't talk about once. 80,000 words in the book, and he does not mention Bob Kraft once in the book. So they're saying that is there still bad blood between the two?
You should not be named.
Nice.
What did Bob Kraft ever do for him other than write his checks?
He wrote his checks.
Why do I need to mention him?
Yeah.
He didn't help me win no games.
Thomas, you want to take us into the Twilight Zone, but first, our word from our sponsor.
Yes, sir. The 1973 podcast is fueled by W Energy, but it wasn't always this way. W Energy was born from humble beginnings. An idea sparked in a small apartment when their founder, Anthony, set out to take on the energy drink giants, aka Big Energy. After trying a big name competitor's product and being disappointed by the taste and poor quality ingredients, Anthony knew he could do better, so he dove deep into formulation, mastering the ingredients, flavors, and performance to create an energy drink that works without the jitters, crashes, sugars, artificial dyes, or calories. Dubby launched with just one flavor and reinvested every penny to grow. Now they've created 15 plus custom made flavors enjoyed by thousands of loyal customers every month. So are you ready to break free from big energy? Go to www.dubby.gg and use the code 1973podcast at the checkout for 10% off your order. Dubby Energy, no jitters, no crash, just pure focus. Now back to Brad and the 1973 podcast.
Got a good one queued up, Andy. Me and Ed kind of talked about this a little bit. And it's, the fact that basically when World War II ended, a lot of Nazis kind of escaped out to South America, to Argentina. And recently, Javier Milei, I don't know how to say that, the president of Argentina, he's kind of on some Trump shit. Like, he's he's pretty wild and he's like this rock star mentality. He doesn't care who he offends. He's like the Trump version of in Argentina. Anyway, he started releasing his own documents, trying to basically prove all these conspiracy theories that the Nazis lived in Argentina. Which I think by this point we can all agree Nazis definitely lived in Argentina. There's a town called La Cumbracita, basically Little Bavaria. It's a German like mountain town in the mountains of Argentina. Like the Nazis were there, 100%. But the president of Argentina, the thing I want to get y'all's opinion on is he's wanting to come out and basically say that Hitler escaped to Argentina. And there's a lot of evidence that, and when I say evidence, I mean TikTok. I did zero research on this. Excuse me. So here's the facts. This is fact. The skull they have of Hitler turns out it's a female skull. There were no actual witnesses to the, we can't say the word. We'll get shadow banned. There was no witnesses. There was no forensic evidence. They have a female skull. It turns out that they said was Hitler. That's it. It's very likely he got put on a U-boat and U-boated to another U-boat where he was U-boated to another U-boat until he got to Argentina. I don't know. I think that's more possible than him just being in a bunker and himself. Especially we don't have a body. It's like we don't have a body for Osama bin Laden. I don't think he's dead. I think he's on an island with Tupac somewhere. So there's that.
Do you want to add to this?
I mean, I if you ever watch the Hunting Hitler with Tim Kennedy, it kind of talks all about this. It talks about the bunkers and it talks about, that there's a lot of, Nazi, bunkers and pillboxes and security type stuff in Argentina and, you know, and in Chile. It interesting that both Argentina and Chile, post World War II, kind of had dictators, and they pretty much recruited a lot of the high-ranking Nazi officials slash generals to run their military. Um, and are there towns that are in Argentina that are like Little Bavaria? Absolutely. If you watch the Hunting Hitler programs with Tim Kennedy, he goes into some of these towns, and he's part of his podcast that we have with Joe Rogan. He talked about these when he sat down and in some of these people's houses, and they have all this memorabilia as far as China that has actual SS engravings in the cups or on the bottom of the cup. It talks about how they have boxes of medals that they talk about very proudly and stuff like that. And the thing is like you look at Operation Paperclip and what we did post World War II. We hired a lot of Nazi double agents and spies to spy on the Soviet Union. So I it's hard for me to and the chaos at the end of World War II with the rat lines that came out of Germany through the Vatican with the Red Cross and everything. Think about this. Hitler was a millionaire before he became even into power because he wrote his book when he was in prison. So he was already a millionaire. And the thing about it is that how did he rise to become that powerful in such a short amount of time and to do what they did? They had to have people in industry and everything like that to make all of that happen. So it kind of makes me want to say, because Mengele it took the Mossad like 20 something years to find him in Argentina. And then they, I believe that they unalived him and then put him on a plane. Or they put him in a box and then brought him back to Israel and then tried him and then they unalived him. So there are a lot of things that happened post World War II, because there's a reason why Patton had, allegedly had the accident, because he said in the big press clippings that we need to continue once we get to Berlin, we need to keep going west. So and then something happened to him, So I don't know. I'm gonna take it back to you guys. I can go on forever about this.
Shaggy, you want to add anything to what Ed said?
I don't really have anything to add. I definitely heard about this, and it is very interesting. I wish they could start releasing files like another guy we know, see if we can get some files on this. Like maybe 10,000 or so, maybe.
Ryan, want to add to anything with this conspiracy theory?
Yeah, I would think once you get into a war with the world as a leader, knowing if it doesn't end your way, you must have some kind of contingency plans in place to, like, if this doesn't go our way, I'm getting the hell out of here. So I'm not really surprised. Argentina just seems like an odd place to land if you're Hitler Youth or whatever. But I guess they're not going to be looking for you there either. No, I'm in. I believe it.
Don't forget, it's the 1940s too. It's not as upscale as it is now. So it's more remote and less likely you're going to get run into by somebody from the U.S. when you're halfway across the world per se.
You think you might stick out a little bit though if you're white blonde hair? I know Hitler had dark hair, but for the Aryan nation there, but it's I believe it.
The thing that's crazy about the whole war machine that they had, all these things that they supposedly went around the globe and did for the juggernaut that they supposedly were, you cannot tell me that there wasn't some value to what they tried to do with these different scientists that supposedly saw everything from the occult to aliens to whatever is in Antarctica and the technology that they supposedly had, and like the everything from military strongholds that they had in to the Glocka, the bell that could probably, bend time and was like a time machine. So all that stuff from, what we like to call reverse engineering, it's just taking something and pulling it apart and putting a new coat of paint on it and calling it yours. I mean, all this stuff that they supposedly absorbed, you can't tell the mom and pop baby boomers after World War II that you fought against the German army and you left your pro sports career and we took these guys and we gave them safe haven and now they're working for us. I don't think a lot of people would have bought that back then. So I mean, go ahead.
Don't forget, whoever wins writes the history. So everything over there was so evil, but you say, "Oh shit, well, let's take this and we could use this."
You like a St. Pauli girl every now and then.
Hey, they said NASA and the CIA are both started by Nazis when they brought them over. It wasn't just come develop the atom bomb. That was Operation Paperclip, right, Ed?
No, Paperclip is when we gathered up all the scientists and everything like that.
Yeah.
For post World War II stuff, we had Oppenheimer and all those guys working on it with the
Operation Blue Book was the one with all the NASA stuff and the aliens.
Yeah. So they're saying that NASA and the CIA as well, like Nazi Secret Service. Like, wouldn't you want their top guys?
Well, maybe
from the SS coming over and being like, "Hey,
OSS," before it became the
we can take all these evil people and do good with them.
Yeah, that's how they started the CIA, man.
That's how they did the Thunderbolts and the Suicide Squad like that too.
Yep.
If you love your comic books, we'll just leave it at that. Thomas,
Thomas, shine it up, kid.
Shine it up.
All I'll say is there's a little bit of truth to pretty much every conspiracy. So some of it's probably true. I wouldn't put it past them.
A little bit of truth to every conspiracy. So do you think that Aleister Crowley really opened a portal and a bunch of demons came out and the Loch Ness Monster came out of that portal?
I do think you're Gator.
The thing I was mentioning a bunch of podcasts ago when we were talking about what is it? Victor von Braun, the one that was the top German scientist that worked on the NASA stuff. His conspiracy theory about the firmament is on his tombstone, and it's in a Bible verse. And I keep forgetting to bring that up, but one of these times, just look at Google his tombstone, and it'll say like Psalms like 3:16 or whatever, and it's kind of like a game changer if you read between the lines. So right till the very end, even on the tombstone, it's got cryptic messages. So just these conspiracy theories are great. Brad does a fantastic job for talking points with bringing stuff up. I think this is another thing that is like the One Watch Everybody Knows the Rules. These tinfoil hat segments could be super deep dives. I sent you guys the clip of those guys talking about that zone F that NASA had off the coast of Maryland. They were talking about on one of the podcasts, and I said we talked about that a couple podcasts back. Where remember that story about the fisherman that was blown way off course off the coast of Maryland, and he was an avid scuba diver. He was going, once the storm cleared, he noticed this big cage that was like under the water. Do you remember that story? And then what he thought was a megalodon in the cage.
Oh yeah,
They were talking about that on a podcast, and I'm like, we beat these guys to the punch. We were talking about that, at least like.
Probably 8 months.
So you're saying they stole out?
They're watching us. They're watching.
Hey, who knows? I don't want to say that thousands of people watch us, but I'm sure that somebody comes across clips here and there of us every now and then. I mean,
15 people watch us every week.
Well, I was telling Ryan, if you look at the reels are doing better than the episode views. I just posted one the other day. It's up to 250 views off a couple days. So, there's some kind of method to this madness. Just got to crack that code. And that's going to be a conspiracy tinfoil hat segment eventually too. So let's wrap this bad boy up so everybody can get some rest. Shaggy, been a while. You're wearing a great shirt.
Bye,
What's
sure.
your shout out this week?
Shout out to you guys. Great to see you guys. Sorry I've been, absent. It's getting warmer. Things are going on. So yeah, thanks again to see you guys.
Well, we got to put you on the spot now. So, are you going to use personal time? Are you taking a charge? ETO? What's going on?
I took the family leave one, whatever the FLMA. That's what I took. Yeah, I used that one for previous one. So if I'm wrong, let me know. I don't know my hours are. I got to see how many I got left.
Okay, Ed, you got to work on that with HR.
Okay, I will. Yeah.
Ed, shout out this week, not to HR, but go ahead. All the boys at work.
I'd like to thank all the boys down at the plant. No, it's good to be back, guys. Good to see you fellas. No, just good to be back.
Where you been?
Yeah, I've been around.
Thomas, aka the professor, what do you got this week besides some Reynolds wrap on your head?
I want to thank the nurses at my wife's school, the EMTs, and the emergency workers at the hospital they brought her to for helping her when she was in dire straits. They did well. She didn't figure out exactly what's wrong, but they kind of ruled out a few things. So now we try to figure out what's going on.
Phantom, you're up.
I am going to shout out the Western Michigan Broncos for taking out BU. After all this NIL talk that we had earlier about the college football, they don't have not one player on their team that got NIL money. And I'm sure the guys on BU have tons of it. So I thought that was kind of impressive with the modern college sports. Their coach did say, maybe this might be the last year that we're able to do that, but they did it the old-fashioned way. So good on them.
Bradford, sunstroke, vitamin D, dehydration, CTE, you got it all. So you're checking all the boxes today. You're squinting like you're still outside. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm exhausted. Shout out to my boy Lucas. We won 2 games, lost our elimination game. It is what it is, man. It's baseball. Sometimes the boys show up, sometimes they don't. They're 9 years old, for God's sakes. You can't predict when they're going to show up. But Lucas did get to pitch 2 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, kept us in it. He's got a little southpaw lefty action that even though he's off speed, people can't hit him. So he's like our top 3 or 4 pitcher on the team, and I just love that kid. He plays so hard. He works so hard for his sport and his craft that it's like it makes me jealous, man. Like I'm not that passionate about anything anymore, except this podcast, Andy. Super passionate about the podcast.
Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, he's locked in, man, and it's fun. It's my joy of the weekend, even though I get sunburnt. Assistant coaching, I lose my voice. My feet hurt, my back hurts, my eyeballs feel like they got sunburnt. I need some eye drops. All of the above. But I love watching him play, man. Like nothing brings me joy like watching him play baseball. So good time, man. Good time.
Speaking of good times, glad to have everybody back. Present in attendance, full boat. Next week's episode, we don't know what we're going to do yet. It's WrestleMania weekend. We're going to give everybody probably the weekend off, except for maybe the Bradford and the Phantom will get together and maybe live stream some bigger WrestleMania matches, at least 2 of them, maybe the main events, and we'll put something out there. So we'll try something new. Got some interviews coming up. That's pretty big, and we're going to knock some stuff out of the park. And that's it for this week. I'm tired. I'm sore. I'm going to feel it when I get up. So, fellas, we are DONE done, son.